Hi everyone, and welcome back to Mippy Makes ASMR. Today I'm doing a little bit of a different video. Today I'm actually doing a soft spoken video rather than a whispered video, which is what I did last time. Today I'm going to be working on one of my works in progress, which is right here, so that's why you cannot see me, because I thought it would be fun to do a knit and chat. I'm not sure what I'm going to chat about. Maybe I'm just going to chat about me and what I do and what I'm knitting on, or just life in general. So I'm briefly going to show you the project that we're going to be working on. So I'm going to be working on a cabled and lace cardigan. So this is my Maple Meadow cardigan, which is a pattern that is currently being test knitted, and I thought it would be fun to work on it whilst my test knitters are also working on it. So I have started this pink version in some Tweedy yarn. So this yarn has some really lovely speckles. The yarn itself is Scheepjes Terrasso, which is a mulesing free and recycled felted tweed yarn, and the color is 723 Rosa. And I really like it because it has all of these little tweedy flecks. So what I'm hoping this cardigan will do is give a little bit more of a traditional cabled look to this pattern, because the original sample that I made was with a very fluffy yarn. So it just gives a really different vibe when you use like a typical kind of rustic looking yarn like this. So I'm holding it together with the Scheepjes alpaca rhythm, which looks like this, and this is actually a lace weight kind of mohair alternative, which is really nice. This is made with 80% alpaca and 20% extra fine merino wool in the color 653, which is in the color name Foxtrot, and it's a really nice mauve dusty pink colorway, which I really like. It's kind of classic. So one of these has 25 grams and 200 meters, so that is the lace weight yarn, whilst this one is more of a DK weight yarn. So this one has 50 grams and 175 meters, which is actually a lot of yardage for a DK weight yarn. And so as you can see, the colors are not a perfect match, but together they are working up really nicely. And all of this here that I've done is actually only from this past weekend. So I've only been working on this for I think 2 days or so, but it's just working up really quickly. This is currently being knit up on a 5mm US 8 size needle. I always use my favorite knitting needles, which are the Knit Pro Symphony needles. They are basically like a kind of wooden needle, which I just really like, and they currently have the swivel cord attached to it, which turns 360 degrees. So as you can see, I can just twist my needle around whilst the cord is the same, which is really nice. So let's work on this cardigan. It does have a little bit of cables as well, so I do have a cable needle here as well, and I do know how to cable without this little tool, but I just find it so much more comfortable, honestly, when I cable without my little cable needle. Like I'm just using 3 hands. I think it's maybe because I'm a continental knitter, so that just makes it a little bit more difficult. So this little tool is really nice. And lastly, I also have my pattern printed out here, just because I'm following my own pattern, so it's quite nice to just follow it like this, so then I don't have to search everything online in the file. So especially when I'm on the go, this is just nice to bring. So all of these cables and things are charted, which is how I like to write my patterns. But there is a bunch of written text as well. So here, there's a lot of text and instructions on how to knit this cardigan. So I'm currently still working on the left front, but I'm almost finished with it. And after I finish the left front, we are actually joining the fronts together with the back, which is always a really exciting part, because then we're just working the back stitches back and forth, or like the body stitches, and probably my favorite part of a cardigan, is just working the back and forth. I know a lot of people like to knit in the round, but I quite enjoy just working a cardigan flat, because I think the purling kind of gives me a break. Like sometimes just knitting it around on and on is just a little bit boring to me. I have to check here because pretty soon I'm going to be able to start a row for the armhole shaping. I actually think this is it. Gonna have to check with the other side. Yeah. So I'm going to be increasing some stitches here for the armhole, which is how I like to grade my patterns. It just gives a much nicer fit when you also add armhole shaping rather than just having the shaping all coming from the shoulders. Especially for larger sizes, because they have a bigger bust circumference, then you kind of just end up with a really big square, which is not cute. And what I really like about this pattern in particular is actually that it's really like easy to memorize. So you can see here that I'm not even having to look at the charts. Of course, I know it's my second time working up this cardigan, but even when I was making it the first time, I didn't have to really look at the charts, because it's just a pattern that is very easily memorizable. And also by just looking at your work, you can usually tell what you have to do. Thank you all so much for watching my previous video, which was my first ASMR video on this channel. It was a video where I did a fabric and a yarn haul, so we got a lot of different sounds and textures, which is really nice. So I thought this was fun, like nice for a change. I guess I could talk a little bit about me and what I plan on doing for this channel. So my name is Famke. I don't think I said my name in the first video. I noticed that when I was editing it, so I'm sorry about that. But it's a Dutch name. It's a little bit difficult for most people to memorize or pronounce. But yeah, it's Famke. And I live in Amsterdam. I work in a fabric store, which is really nice. And that's also how I, of course, acquire a lot of yarn and fabrics and get to chat with a lot of fun and creative people, which I really like. And despite like the other things that I do, like the knitting and the making patterns and like making content on social media, I really like that it of course brings me into touch with people, because sometimes like when you work for yourself, it can be really easy to not see people and to always just be by yourself, which can just be a little bit depressing sometimes. So I like being able to get out of the house and work alongside other people, and I have really nice colleagues, so I like it. And of course sometimes I don't want to work, because it's nice to be at home and stuff. And especially if I'm working on something, then I usually just want to keep going. But yeah, it's also good for me sometimes to just take a break. Besides that, I don't really have any other hobbies than the ones that I share on this channel. So like knitting, crochet and sewing are basically all of my hobbies, and I don't really do much else. I'm a little bit introverted, so I don't spend a lot of time with other people, and I also don't really have many friends. But I kind of like my life like this, and I'm 25 years old, and I feel like a lot of people at this age are just like working on themselves and the life that they want to have in the future. It's just kind of the same for me. Like I'm just really focused on my business and trying to expand and make kind of this creative part of my life function as a business. So I'm not just doing this for fun anymore. That's at least the goal in the end, but I feel like that's like everybody's goal that is like sharing knitting and stuff on the internet. It's just we want to make our hobbies our job, which sadly is just easier said than done. But so far so good. I'm still here, and I'm really grateful that I'm able to work only 2 days a week, so that I get to do things like this on the side. Honestly, for the past 3 weeks I've not been doing too great, but this ASMR channel is helping me a little bit to kind of get out my shell and do something different. Basically, I sometimes struggle with like possible endometriosis or like just menstrual pain outside of my cycle, which is really difficult. So I'm usually in pain, not like severe pain, but it's still pain nonetheless, and it's just super exhausting. So these past 3 weeks are just a little bit crazy because I thought I had like a UTI, but then I didn't. So I kept going to the doctor, but turns out I don't have a UTI. So if I do have endometriosis, then it's probably on my bladder, which is fun. So honestly, health-wise, I'm not doing all too good. But again, making this video is making it a little bit better because I'm just absolutely lacking basically motivation for almost anything right now, which is difficult for me because I'm usually super motivated. Like, it's hard for me to not do anything. I'm always working on something. So then to kind of be unable or not feel up to it, it's just really different. But no matter what stage I am in life, I always have time for knitting. And I do always feel like knitting. It's definitely like a really nice creative outlet for me, but also something that just relaxes my mind and just gives me something to do and to look forward to. Like when I'm just going through something, just imagining like yarn and all the things that I want to make and being creative really helps like tremendously, which I feel like most people that don't knit, yeah, like it's hard for them to imagine that a hobby can have such a big impact on your life. But it's just one of the best hobbies to have, and I always recommend people that I know to just start knitting because you can do it anywhere, and it's just 2 sticks and some yarn, and you can have a good time for hours on end. So this is actually my last row that I'm doing an increase for the armholes, which is nice. So we're almost at the join for the underarm. I really like making patterns that combine different kinds of textures, so I don't think I have any designs that are just stockinette, because that is just not necessarily for me. I just get a little bit bored. But a design like this that combines cables with lace and then some stitch, that is just right up my alley, and I really love it. Also, I've only ever, I think, this is my second ASMR video. But as you can see, I do have this really pretty pink microphone that I got. Even though this ASMR channel is probably just going to be a hobby, I don't know, I really wanted to do it right. So that's why I got this pink microphone. But it's so cute and so pretty. And I saw other creators use it and I really like the sound that it had. So let me know what you think. I do have another microphone that I use for like my main YouTube channel, but that one is wireless, so you basically just clip it on your shirt. So it definitely creates a little bit of a different kind of sound compared to a microphone like this. I'm actually almost out of the first ball of yarn, so I feel like that first ball of yarn went very far, considering that I almost am ready to join for the underarms. Like, that is quite far and impressive. I wonder if crochet would also make the same kind of sounds. Like, of course, knitting needles, and especially the way that I personally knit, which is English style, makes these little clicky sounds. So I'm wondering if crochet would do the same. I've never, of course, done like a crochet ASMR video, but we can try that out next. We can try it out next if you want. I have a couple of crochet projects that I'm currently working on. And I also got some yarn just now, like this weekend, for a pillow that is going to be super cute. So maybe we can do like a little video and we can make it together. think that could be really fun. So here you can see that I finished the armhole shaping. You can see that it has this little curve. So that just gives a little bit more shaping to reach the amount of stitches that we need for the bust. So here you can see a little bit better the stitch pattern that we're currently creating. We have this beautiful braided cable, which is 6 stitches. Then we also have 6 stitches of seed stitch. And then some of this eyelet lace. Some people kind of reference to this as pointel lace, like it kind of looks like those pointel knits, which it does look a little bit like that. To me it's just little clovers or flowers, like depends on the way you look at it. So yeah, I really like this yarn so far. Something else to note about the Streepjes yarn is actually like little details that they usually have this inside their yarn balls. And it says start here, which I know a lot of people like to pull from the center. Personally, I don't, but I do think it's a really nice touch. So if you are someone that really enjoys being able to pull the yarn from the center, then I just think that's such a nice detail, and I've never seen any other yarn companies do that. And this yarn is also just super pretty. And I really like that it's a mohair alternative. So if you're sensitive to mohair or you think mohair is a little bit itchy, then this could definitely work for you. I've been filming for about 18 minutes. So I think we are going to join for the honor together, just to make this video a bit longer. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to work across my front in pattern, just like I've done before. I also love the sound actually that wooden needles make. I've tried knitting with metal needles, but it just doesn't hit the same. And they're also really cold, and for someone that already has cold hands, like metal needles just aren't as nice. And the wooden needles just take up your temperature kind of, or like they're like a normal temperature, I guess is how I would say it. So works a lot better if you also have cold hands. And I've also seen some people on the internet that have actually broken these needles a few times, like by sitting on them. That had never ever happened to me. I've never broken any of these needles. I think I've only ever lost them, which of course then is my own fault. So yeah, do with that what you will. I do think they're very durable and strong. So these are my favorite knitting needles. And this company has actually reached out to me a few times to collaborate. But I don't really want to work with them because they're one of the companies that I feel like they don't really support creators like they should. Like they don't really want to pay you for it. They just want to make money off of you and of your content. So despite the knitting needles being really great, I don't know if I love the company. Like besides that, just because there have been other companies that are just willing to pay or not demand basically as much, and they still want to send you their product, which is how it should be. Because as creators, especially people that do something creative, we are often overlooked, like we're just doing a little hobby and we just want free stuff. So our work is not as valuable as like that of another normal influencer, which is just really ridiculous. So yeah, I'm just speaking up about this issue. I mean, not that it's that big of an issue. I just choose not to work with those type of companies. I'm going to have to look in the pattern, see how many stitches I need to cast on. Here we have the body section. It says work across the left front, then knit 1, slip marker. So I need to now knit 1 and purl 1. So I'm going to knit and purl. And then they say to cast on 1 stitch. That's very little. That's for my size though, which is an extra small. So cast on 1 stitch, and then to work across the back stitches. So I'm going to have to put those back on the needle, but I actually have a needle cord like this, which works really nicely. It's one of these like plastic cords, and I will show you how it works. But basically, you will take that end, and you will take the other needle, which will be your left hand needle, and then you can just put it on top of each other like this. Then I will take the other end of it and just start pulling it. So then you can just slide your stitches back onto your needle, so you don't have to slip all of them one by one, which is really nice. So also if you are knitting something and you want to try it on, but it doesn't really fit you when it's on the needles, you can just put in something like this, and then you can try on your project when it's not finished yet. Just a really nice and convenient thing. Like whoever developed this is really smart. And then once the stitches are back on your needle, you just pull it up, and that's it. So now we can work across our back stitches, which we are going to purl 1 and then knit 1. We're going to remove that marker and then work in pattern. Now you can see here that it's joined at the underarm, so we have that new stitch. And now this will be the armhole, which is currently looking a little bit small, but I'm sure that once we stretch it out a little bit, it will be fine. Yeah, right? I hope so. I'm following my pattern, but I didn't gauge swatch for my own pattern, which I know is a little bit silly, but I am thinking it will be okay. Here we have reached our cable again, so I'm going to take my cable needle, put those stitches on the cable needle and hold it in the front. Like you can see that being an English knitter, I would really need like a third hand to be able to do this. So the cable needle just works really nicely. I think I'm going to finish knitting this row, then I will probably end this video there. If you have any questions for me or things that you would love to like for me to answer, maybe a Q&A or something, definitely let me know, because like I said in the next video, maybe I'm going to do the crochet pillow, like a little segment, or we can do maybe a vlog. I'm not sure. I've never really tried an ASMR vlog before, but that could be fun. I could also do a voiceover, but I could definitely do like a Q&A or something. I think that could be fun. For the upcoming time, I'm not sure what my upload schedule is going to be exactly. I'm definitely aiming for once a week, which should be doable, I think, but I'm not entirely sure if that's always going to be on the same day. I think it's going to be a little bit more random, just because my life is also a little bit random, honestly. Like, it's very much go with the flow often, even though I'm someone that plans out every single thing. I've sadly learned over time that my plans always change, like life always happens. So despite me trying to plan and be super organized, often that just is not realistic. So that's why I'm not like setting any expectations for myself or for you guys. I'm not gonna say that there's going to be a video every single Sunday, for example, because I just don't want to disappoint anyone or myself. If you're also a knitter, I would love to know your favorite texture to knit. Like, are you more of a texture knitter, Or do you prefer to knit cables or lace? Or do you just like some plain stockinette? I would love to know. If you're the same like me, you like to do some textures, or if you just like to knit stockinette, which is also fine. I mean, there's no right or wrong, as long as you're just having fun, right? I think a lot of people maybe also think that I knit super fast because I am quite a productive knitter, but I think you can see that I'm not particularly super fast. I think I just knit a lot and I have a lot of time to knit, which I'm very grateful for. Like I mentioned, I'm also a size extra small, so basically knitting projects just go quicker when you're making a small size. It's like, imagine making a children's sweater. Of course, that's going to be much quicker than making a sweater for yourself. Not that I'm child-sized, but like to give an example of the size of a garment. You know, the bigger the garment or the blanket or whatever you're working on, the longer it usually takes, depending on the gauge, of course. Now it's almost again time to cast on the new stitch for the armhole, which is just one stitch for my size. So we can remove this marker, knit one, purl one, and cast on that new stitch using the backwards loop cast on method, just like that. And then we can put these front stitches back on the needles. Here you can see I just use one of these regular stitch holders. So I'm going to have to slip them one by one. I think I'm getting hiccups. Which, as you can see, this also works, but just takes a little bit more time. But it does make a nice sound, so I guess you live and you learn. If you also, by the way, see any hairs, I'm going to have to say that sadly that is completely normal, because very often I am knitting with my own hair, accidentally in my projects. But I guess it just gives some extra character. So as long as I'm not gifting it to anyone, which I never do, I think it's fine. It's especially worse when I'm around people with pets, because then I'm also putting their pets' hair into my sweaters. But then I guess I cannot forget them ever, because they will always be in my sweater. I know some people like to make yarn using the hair from their pets, which is interesting. I don't know if I would ever do that if I had a pet. I think probably not, because I have too many hobbies as it is, so I don't need to go around collecting pet hair. But I guess it's possible, and it's a nice way. Maybe if your pet, eventually they won't be here, so it is a way to always remember them, which is very special. But still, I don't think I would do it necessarily. Also, I think we can all agree that dogs smell a little bit. You would have to wash that yarn very, very well, because I wouldn't want to wear a dog yarn sweater. Cats, contrary, smell much better. So we're almost at the end of the row, and then I'm going to say goodbye to you. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. It was my second ASMR video, so I'm still learning, and I want to try out the soft spoken thing, because last time I did a whispered video. So I really hope that you enjoyed this. Definitely let me know your preference. I don't think I personally have any preference. I just think it's fun to share my crafty things in a little bit of a different way than my regular YouTube channel. And also, crafts are just super tingly. Like, you have to admit that all the yarn and the fabrics and everything that comes with it is just super tingly. So here we can see what we've worked on. We've now joined the two fronts together with the back. So we have these little underarm stitches. Hopefully this is going to break a nice cardigan in the end. right now I would say it's not the softest thing ever, but I feel like this yarn really has the potential to just absolutely bloom and really soften up. So I have faith in this project. So I really like this. I think I'm going to try put this here for a quick little thumbnail, because last time I definitely did not make a nice thumbnail. So there you go, with the yarn and the project in the background. Thank you all so much for watching. I wish you all a very happy day, happy knitting, and I wish you a good sleep. And I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.